Hello, everyone. Welcome to People's Depot Podcast. And I am your host, Stephen Jackson. We want to welcome everyone and thank everyone for coming to our podcast show. We have an exciting podcast show today, and it's something that is really going to help businesses. The title of our podcast is, What is Employee Retention Tax Credit and How Does it Work? Now, employee retention tax credit is a generous benefit that was given to businesses because of the coronavirus. It was an incentive to help businesses stay open and be able to maintain its employees. So simply put, employee retention tax credit is an internal revenue service tax credit program designed to help and encourage companies and small businesses to retain their employees that are on their payroll. So these are W-2 employees because of the coronavirus pandemic. It is a fully refundable payroll tax credit on qualified wages paid to employees from March 13, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. And all companies, or most companies, are eligible for this. If there is a limit, you at least have to have employees. The maximum employees that you can have is 500. After that, you don't get that benefit, but it makes no difference what size the company is. It's just that they have to have employees. And these incentives go up to $26,000 per employee. And there are companies that are getting huge incentives. Now, this program is not going to last forever. I'm going to be honest with you. It is something that will no doubt fizzle out maybe within the next year or so. It's not an everlasting program, but it's mainly created because of the pandemic. And so at People's Depot, I wanted to take the opportunity to inform our listeners about this program. Now, most times we talk about gold and silver, and that is something that I'm passionate about because of the inflationary period that we find ourselves in today. Gold and silver is so important. In fact, it is a hedge that many people, companies, individuals, wealthy, not so wealthy, use to protect their wealth. And our programs are such that it is so easy. Even the less fortunate are able to attain gold and silver through the collaboration that we have set up. But our focus is not going to be on gold and silver today. But I generally make mention of it because it is so important and the times that we find ourselves in today. Our focus is going to be on employee retention tax credit. And if you think about the title of it, it'll tell you really pretty much what this is about. It is about retaining your employees during these difficult times. Now, we're not clear of the pandemic. Yes, it's gotten much better, but there's still those that are coming in that are being hospitalized because of COVID. And so there's still reason to have incentives around that are going to help companies because companies are affected. Many companies still have their lobbies closed. And I'm speaking of restaurants. There are some restaurants where some of their lobbies are still closed. They have the drive-up available. Maybe you have a walkthrough, but they're not really entertaining guests. Now, it's only probably a select few, but it's all from that pandemic era. So you can see why it is so important. And it was a great idea for the federal government to put in place something that can help companies recoup and yet maintain being in business and really maintain their employees. Because if they weren't maintaining their employees, then all these people will be out of work, which many still are, but a lot more would be out of work. And that will create an even greater problem because I mean, think about it. When you're employed, what do? You pay taxes. Taxes go to into our federal system to pay whatever benefits or whatever they do with taxes. But it's a continuing cycle. But you break that cycle when there are no longer any employees. So we can see why this particular tax credit benefit, retention credit benefit, is so vitally important. And there are companies that actually have been receiving millions of dollars in refunds due to this particular credit. So you can see why we would bring it to our listeners, because People's Depot is all about helping businesses start and grow. We do it through our online training, our online niches, and resources that we have, tools and resources that we have that help people function. So quite naturally, when there's something out there that is going to help businesses, and again, it helps you maintain and grow, we're going to bring it to the public when we receive it. And we know this is a real, I don't want to say real life, but this incentive is real. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not something that it's a matter of fact, or that, it's something that, there are things that people talk about that are just imaginary. This is not an imaginary incentive. And this is a very generous incentive. There are people, as I mentioned, getting millions of dollars in refunds. So, of course, we want to bring this to you. What I thought I would do is just kind of give you an idea how the opt-in form, the form that you would use to really apply for this, would look. Now, keep in mind, this is not a program where you can keep applying and applying and applying, like you apply and make a mistake, and that's not going to happen. You really have to have a good accountant or planners that can actually help you through the process. And at People's Depot, we have a collaboration with a company that can help you do that. That has done this many times. There are actually, there's some type of accreditation that the IRS gives certain accounting firms to be able to present applications for certain processes or returns, or I can't really think of the word, but when the federal government puts something out and they put a program out, there's a process that you have to go through to benefit from that program. And this is the same. There's a process, but in this particular process, there's no room for guessing, for errors, or things like that. You really need a company that knows what they're doing. And so through our collaboration, we're bringing that to you. And that's what I'm really trying to say. So here again, let me share my screen with you. Let's see here. Let's see that. Hold on one second. So this was so important that I wanted to really share what the screen looks like and what the form looks like. Now, it's very simple. When you fill out this form, you'll be prompted to another form with very simple information similar to this. Now, the thing about it is, you are going to have a accounting firm that's going to contact you, and they're going to usher you through this process. So I thought I would actually share this portion with you so you had an idea the simplicity. So the burden is not going to be on you to figure out how to qualify or how to apply for this particular credit. The burden is really on them. They're going to tell you if you qualify, but if you have W-2 employees, then certainly you have no problem. So long as you fall into that particular amount of employees. If you're maximum employees, if you have 501 employees, then you simply don't qualify. Anything under 500 employees, you would qualify. So, but I wanted to show you just how simple it is for you. Now, the burden of all of the paperwork and things like that is put on the accounting firm that we've collaborated with. And of course, your privacy will be intact. They have a due diligence to do that. And of course, you have obviously some things outside of that you can do if anything was breached. But this is actually designed, a real program that the federal government has been very generous with, and it is designed to help companies. And so my job is to make sure you have accurate information and information that is going to help you get benefits or reap the benefits of this particular program to help your company maintain and even grow. So this is the reason why podcasts like this I bring to the public, because simply put, we have an obligation. As People's Depot, we feel we have an obligation if we're going to help companies grow and start, and we're going to provide them, be a connector where they have great programs and great opportunities to grow their businesses, then certainly we want to do everything we can to give them the necessary tools, and even if they're new tools, that is going to help them. So we're just a connector. We're not the ones receiving your information. Is not coming to us. That's not what's happening. This is a separate company. When you actually beneath this podcast, and this is for those that are looking at a video podcast, you're going to see the links to this organization whereby you can take advantage of. And there will be other links in the description as well. For those that are listening, that are on our podcast show, there are going to be links in the description as well. Every time we post our podcast on Anchor, we actually post a description with links in it as well, and you'll be able to see that also. And it's really for the benefit of anybody that we're reaching that are in business, and it's going to help them maintain their business. So let me stop to share here. And so certainly, as People's Depot, if we're helping businesses grow, we're helping businesses start, and we have an obligation to present whatever information we can that is going to help you be successful. And that's what we want to do. We want to be as helpful as possible. We want to over-deliver on what we promise. We never want to be ones that are just not doing what we need to do in helping you grow. Because if you grow, then we grow. More people come to our podcast, more people come to our site, and they're able to really benefit from a lot of the information. Products, we don't create the products. We actually connect you to the experts that have these products or these services. And that's what we do. So when you are opting in and you're giving information, you're giving it to those particular experts that we choose and that we found to be very vital companies and organizations that can help you. And so, as I've always said, when we're looking at organizations, there are three things we look at. We look at the people that are involved. Who's the one that's involved in this? Who are the experts? What is their history? And then we look at, is there a need? So when we think about this retention tax credit, well, we know it comes from federal government. I mean, you can actually research that and find out for yourself. We also have a blog that will give you additional information. I'll give you that blog information shortly. But we look at who is actually behind this. We know the federal government, and then we know the accountant service is actually certified with the IRS. They've actually worked diligently with the IRS over a number of years in the business that they do. The other thing is, the second thing is there a need? Well, certainly if you're going to get a refund or any type of credit given back to you, then of course there's a need. I mean, because money helps you grow your business. No one is in business not to make money. I mean, people that are in business, they're in business to make money, but they're also in business because they enjoy what they're doing, and it becomes fun if they're making money at it. And they should make money if they're giving a product that is something that people need. And so this is something that we need. And the other thing is, does it pass what I call the mama test? Would you tell your mother about it? Would you present it to your mother? Will you give her this product? Will you sell her this product? Whatever the case may be. Does it pass the mama test? And you and I both know, well, I'm going to say most people are not going to introduce something to their mother that makes no sense, that is not going to help her or anything. That's counterproductive. It doesn't work, and it doesn't show the love that a child will have for their parents. So those are the three criteria that I use to determine if a product is worthwhile for me to actually present to my audience. And many of the products I use, the majority of them I use, or I know friends that are presently using them, because you're not going to use every single product that you come in contact with. You're just not. But you need to know if the product does its job. So that one way of doing that is maybe you present it to someone that's close to you that is getting a benefit. They're giving you the testimonial of what's going on, what it's doing, and then you go from there. So the point I'm trying to make is I don't just pick a pie in the sky and present it to my audience. That is not what I do. I pick something that is actually going to help my audience and that is really, really worthwhile. And so this employee retention tax credit is very helpful to businesses. And I wanted to really share that with you. I hope in my transferring the share, I haven't messed up anything in the video process. I always want to make my presentation to be as neat as possible, but sometimes goofy stuff happens. I make mistakes. But anyway, I did want to present this to you. One other thing I don't want to forget, we also have a collaboration with a funding agency. Sometimes businesses need funding, and this kind of goes hand in hand. And as a side note, I did want to mention that as well. So if you go to thepeoplesdepot.com/blog, you will see a tab that says tax. And it's going to be the blog that is going to give you all of the additional information about the employee retention tax credit. Also in our blogs, we have a blog about business funding. And as such, that particular blog is going to lead you to information about business funding. There are a lot of good business funding niches there. And in other words, categories that they will fund for businesses. And I thought it was very good because being an online marketer, sometimes marketers are selling products that is just not affordable because it's too much. You got a product, and I'm not saying we have products pricing like that, but you may have a product that someone sells for $3,500. Now, some people have $3,500 sitting around, but the majority may not. But they may really want that product because they can see how they can be successful with it. Well, this particular funding group actually offers funding for those products so that they can actually get those products and use them, whatever they may be. So that, of course, since I am in tune with the online market, and I know that many businesses operate online, this is something that's for them as well. But you have businesses that are trying to buy franchises, they're trying to expand, they may want equipment, they're trying to get more employees. All types of things are going through on businesses. Maybe they're doing an advertisement budget or whatever the case may be, or maybe they're just growing and they need more funding. So this, of course, I wanted to share with you as well. And there will be a link for funding in the description of this podcast as well. So as I mentioned, our podcasts are always on peoplesdepotpodcast.com. You can always hear a audio recording of this podcast on that channel, as well as the peoplesdepot.com/podcast video. There is where you can see the video recording of this podcast. And it will also direct you to our YouTube channel, where we also post the video recording of this podcast as well. And we always want people to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always thinking of ways to give more and more benefit to our audience. And we want to be the ones that really stand out to give you good benefits, good products, good services that you can really use, not something that you have to think about, let me see, or we don't want to convince somebody to have to use something that they really don't need. You know, all of the products that we have are not necessary products that everyone needs. Even this retention program, the employee retention tax credit, everyone doesn't need this. You might have organizations, well, if you got one employee, you still can benefit. But you might have organizations that don't really have employees. Maybe they subcontract, things like that. And so they wouldn't need this program. Why would I try to convince someone to try to get into a position where you can get benefit from it? And this is not our program. It's not our product. This is something presented by the federal government. So therefore, what we're trying to do is pass out products, items, niches, or even programs that our audience needs. And if you need it, take advantage of it. If you don't take advantage of it. Maybe you can pass it on to someone else that you know that needs a program like this. So I thought I would just do this podcast. I wanted to reach out to my audience and let them know this was available. Help them. If I'm helping you, great. Let me know. You can always post on my site. You can always post on my blog. You can post on my YouTube channel how you feel about this. My website is thepeoplesdepot.com. Just look around. There's a lot of great information there that you can actually benefit from. We're growing. We're doing things. There's been some site construction lately, so you'll see things that are new all the time coming up. Our framework is being changed over. Our team is changing over our framework to bigger and better servers. So we've been going through that. So there have been a few glitches. If you come to our site and you notice this is not working, if you come back, you'll see it's working. So unfortunately, those are the pains that happen when you're trying to change your framework of your site and keep it live at the same time. So it's a necessary site to people in general, and we want it to be necessary. So we thought we would explain that to our audience. But at this time, again, my name is Stephen Jackson. I want to thank all of you for listening to our podcast show. And what I have to say is, I will see you later. Goodbye.